Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I am Ama Mama. I am in my car, my van. I'm in my van. Sometimes I have to come out here to get any quiet between the dogs and the kids and just the noise. Sometimes it's just better to sit out in the car. I decided I'm going to hide out here for a little bit and try to get maybe a little bit of reading done. It is Sunday, and I'm thinking what I am going to try to do this week is something that I tried to do earlier when my eyes were still kind of messed up from not having the right glasses and stuff. And so I am going to try to do a video about how much I can realistically read in a day. And I'm thinking I'm going to keep track again, like I have before, of both time and page numbers. It's a little bit chilly out today. It's evening time, so I'm not going to stay out here too long, but I'm going to go ahead and read. So I am going to start with Trevor Noah's Born a Crime, and this is stories from a South African childhood. And I've mentioned before, this is one that I had started reading a while back, and then I don't even know why, I just kind of had put it down and hadn't picked it back up. And I will see how much I read. It might be a matter of how much I can read before my child comes looking for me, because I didn't tell anybody I was coming to sit in my car. All right, I'm gonna finish reading a little bit more. I haven't been out here that long, like 20 minutes or so, but I'm gonna go inside pretty soon. I'm gonna have to probably start getting my child some dinner soon, and then I will pick up reading. So I'll try to pop back on either later tonight when I'm done reading, or I might do it in the morning, depending, before I get started. But I'll just kind of give an update of where I am at the end of the day, how far, how much I've read, how long I read, all of that good stuff. So I will check back in. So I ended up not popping back on last night. It wasn't super late, but I got done reading, and so I started playing a game with my son and all of that, and I just did not pop back on. I ended up reading for just under 2.5 hours in total. I might be a little off on the calculations, because I did guesstimate a little bit from memory for the morning, because I decided I wanted to include what I've been reading for Edgar Allan Poe, just because this one sometimes takes a little bit longer for me to read through the stories in it than it does with other things I read, just because of the writing style. So I decided I wanted to include it. So like I said, it was about 2 hours 20 minutes, I think, and I read about 109 pages, and that was between Edgar Allan Poe and then Born a Crime. I'm almost 50% through this book, so depending on how much time I have to read today, I may be able to finish this. It's a pretty quick read. I don't know how to explain it. It's lighthearted in the sense that, if you're familiar at all with Trevor Noah, he is a comedian, but it's also heavy in some of the topics that he talks about and some of the things that he went through growing up between, his mom and his stepfather, and growing up in South Africa during apartheid and when it ended, and the changes that occurred with that and all of those things. that one of the chapters that Trevor wrote about talked about how the languages would help to divide the people, because they would speak these different dialects and different languages throughout South Africa. And so it helped to even further divide the people. So it wasn't just color. And so Trevor knew how to speak a lot of these languages, and it would confuse people because somebody would look at him and assume one thing, and then he would suddenly be speaking their language, and then they'd be like, oh, I guess he's one of us. And so anyways, so he was talking about the languages. So I'm enjoying it. It's, like I said, it's lighthearted in some ways, but dealing with some very heavy topics in a lighthearted way. So I think he's done a really good job, at least so far. And so I'm very interested to continue reading and kind of see what, what kind of a conclusion the book takes. I don't know how much I will or will not really record today, just because I've got school with the kids and stuff like that. But I'm going to get started first with my next story from Poe's book. Have time, I might either just pop on or I might try to record just a little bit while I'm reading again, but we will see. Quick update, it's a little bit after 7. I have managed to get in about 2.5 hours worth of reading so far today. An hour of that was devoted solely to one of the Edgar Allan Poe stories. So, I mean, that's fine. I'm like almost done with Born a Crime. I've got like 70 pages left in this. So I'm debating on if I want to keep doing some more reading tonight, which I kind of do. I almost want to try to finish this book tonight and start something new tomorrow. But I've also had kind of a long day otherwise, and kind of want to watch some TV or something too. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. So that's why I wanted to just pop on really quick and do a little update. And otherwise, I'll just check in tomorrow and let everyone know whether I ended up finishing this tonight or if I went ahead and put it off until tomorrow morning. I didn't have a chance to do any other recording today, so I just wanted to give a quick update. And I haven't done a full page count yet. I know the Poe story that I read today, I think it had 30 pages. I don't remember. I think it might have had like 30 pages. So, and then I've read at least 50 or more from this book. I actually forgot where I started at this morning. I wrote it down, but I'll do my count after I decide what I'm doing. So, till tomorrow. All right, it is Tuesday morning, and it is around almost 8:30 this morning. I woke up a little bit later than I normally do, which is fine. I just finished my Bible reading and some of the other stuff I like to do first thing in the morning. So now I'm going to start reading. I think I'd mentioned that I've been making myself start with one of the stories from Edgar Allan Poe every day. It just kind of has been keeping me accountable and plugging through this book. I mean, I don't know what percentage this is, maybe 15% through the book, but it's more than what I've done in a very long time. So I'm glad that I'm getting through this. I ended up reading yesterday. I think I read another like 30 minutes last night, something like that. Maybe not that long, but I ended up reading about 3 hours in total yesterday. And that was 140 pages between Poe and Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So I think I'll definitely be able to finish that book today, short of something taking up all my time today outside of my son's drum lesson and stuff. So I'll see how much I'm able to actually read. But right now I'm going to work on Poe for a little while. Well, you can laugh. I'm not going to know if you're laughing. Don't tell me if you laughed at me for this. But what I've found is, because I don't know if you can, I don't know how well you can see like in the camera, but the font on this book just is like insanely small, especially with my old lady eyes. That's what I'm starting to feel like. I've just got old lady eyes with my bifocals. I feel like I'm constantly looking up and down trying to get my bifocals in the right spot. But anyway, so the font's really small. And so what I find happens is that I'll be reading, and because of how small the font is, it's so easy for me to get distracted. And I don't know if some of that is like with my ADHD or the language of the story or whatever, but what I have found is that if I do like I remember doing when I was a kid, if I kind of just keep my bookmark under the line I'm reading and like drag it down, it forces me to keep my attention on the book, because I'm, physically having to move the bookmark from line to line. Whereas if I'm just reading it and I'm letting my eyes go, if I get to sections that either I really need to concentrate on or whatever, like I'll find myself looking out my window or, whatever gets my attention at that moment. And then I have to like refine my place. And I think that's part of why it was taking me so long to read through any of the stories at first, was because I just could not keep from getting sidetracked while I was reading them. So I have found that if I just use my bookmark and stick on the lines, and this is the only book I think that I've ever had to do that with as an adult. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this. It is 8:28, and I'll see how long it kind of takes me to read through this story. This one looks like it's not all that long, so hopefully no more than like half hour or so. To say that I had forgotten too that in the stories that I have read by Poe, the ones that were like darker and everything, his use of language is so good for making you really feel the setting. So like in this, he's in the room that he's in, trying to get to sleep, and he can't sleep. But it says, I struggled to reason off the nervousness which had dominion over me. I endeavored to believe that much, if not all of what I felt, was due to the bewildering influence of the gloomy furniture of the room, of the dark and tattered draperies, which, tortured into motion by the breath of a rising tempest, swayed fitfully to and fro upon the walls and rustled uneasily about the decorations of the bed. It's just, the language is so rich and has that feeling to it that you can just see yourself in there and know the feelings that it would give you, and why this person is having a hard time sleeping, especially with the corpse of his friend's apparently twin sister below him, below where his room is. So, but that's one of the things that I remember just loving when I had read Poe in high school, was just that richness of language. And it's been so long since I've read anything by him, I had forgotten. And the first few stories in this book had all been more like scientific, and then there were some that had that Sherlock Holmes feel. And so this is the first one that I've read that has that kind of darkness to it that I just remember loving. Okay, so that was crazy. The sister it seems like he buried his sister alive and she got out, or she came back from the dead after having been buried alive. And I think the house got sucked up by a storm or something. I don't know. that was crazy. Anyways, I'm going to stop here for now. I've got a few things I need to do. That took about maybe 30 minutes to read that story. So now I'm gonna do some other stuff, and then, like I said, I'll do some more reading, finish up Born a Crime, and I will check back in later, hopefully later today, with maybe an update on where I'm at or what I decided to start. I have plenty to choose from over here, and I'm not sure what I'm going to pick, so I will check back in later though. It is the next day. I did not check back in later. I took my son to his drum lesson, and then we took the kids to the library to make some pop-up holiday cards. So we did that, and by the time we got home and made dinner and all of that, it was getting a little bit late. I did end up picking up Legends and Lattes. I decided I needed to read something that I had bought because it was like newer, and that I wanted to read it from, you know, other booktubers that I've seen. And so I decided I was going to go ahead and start with this. So I read about almost 40 pages of this yesterday, so I didn't get a whole lot into it, but that's just because I did finish Trevor Noah's book, Life is a Crime, and I would definitely recommend that book. I ended up giving it a 5 stars. It didn't have like the comedy that it had parts that were funny, but it didn't have like the comedy that I thought it was going to have because of who he is. But it had some great insights, and reading some of the stuff about his childhood and growing up, it was absolutely crazy. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but man, the story that he tells at the end, I was just like, whoa, I expected it, but I didn't expect what was going to happen. And it's crazy because it's real life. It wasn't, you know, a fictional story. So it's definitely worth the read. So I did give that 5 stars. I really enjoyed that book, but it was also had a lot of heavier content. And so I just wanted something that I knew I was going to find more fun. So I started Legends and Lattes. Again, it was one, I didn't even read the back before I started reading it. But basically this, the main character, and I haven't been introduced to the second creature, whatever you would call them on this page, but the main character is, I guess, what's called an orc, and she is kind of leaving her life behind of what she's been doing and bloodshed and all of that to open a coffee shop. And so it's been really cute so far. So I think I'm gonna like this book a lot. Like I said, it's just been something lighter after what I just read. So I'm thinking I'm gonna like this a lot based on what I've read so far. So I am going to start reading for the day. I'm going to, like I've been doing every morning, I'm gonna first read a story from Edgar Allan Poe, and then if I have time before my son gets up and we got to do our morning stuff, then I'll continue reading Legends and Lattes. I ended up reading for about 2 hours yesterday. At one point my timer got shut off, and then I tried to remember where it had been at, and so there were a couple of times things went a little flaky with my timer due to human error on my part, and I think my son might have shut it off at one point too, not realizing I was timing something. But anyways, so I had to guess a little bit, but it was about 2 hours, I think, and I read about 78 pages, which that seems a little bit low for the time, and that's why I said that it might have been less than 2 hours yesterday, but I'm not completely sure, so I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to go with 2 hours, 78 pages. That might be fairly accurate, or it might be a little bit off, but I'm not trying to necessarily be exact. I just wanted to kind of see what it looks like. But definitely yesterday was less time and less reading. Plus by the evening, I was just kind of ready for a break, and I ended up watching TV for a while, which I do not regret. I don't watch a whole lot of TV But I like to, sometimes I'll watch like booktubers that I follow. I'll sometimes watch or I'll have them on while I'm doing other things and stuff. But I have a couple of shows that I'll record and watch when I have time. So anyways, I will try to check back in later today. We don't really have a whole lot going on. We might go do some window shopping, but otherwise hopefully it'll be a pretty quiet day, and I'll have time to do more reading than what I did yesterday. So I will try to check back in later. Well, it is, you guessed it, Thursday, and I did not check in again. I'm beginning to think that I jinx myself, because I feel like whenever I say, I'll try to check in later, I don't ever check in again. I'm going to go ahead and start reading. I'm really wanting to finish Legends and Lattes this week. It seems like it's a pretty quick, I think it'll be a quick read. It's just a matter of I need to sit down and actually take the time to read it. So she just got everything set up for her coffee shop, and there's already like some bad guys in the new area that she's in, so I can see where some of that like drama is gonna start building. But I'm liking it. It's been a fun book so far, so I'm hoping I have a chance to get a good chunk of reading in today. Luckily it's our last day of school, so we won't have school tomorrow, and I have to take my van for an oil change, which, while that is not fun or exciting, it should give me a good chunk of time to sit and read without too much disturbance. So even though I'm probably jinxing myself at this point, I'll try to check in later and let everybody know where I'm at for the day. Hopefully that is able to happen, because otherwise I feel like I'm just on some weird repeat where I say the same thing and it doesn't happen. So I'm going to go ahead and get started for the day, drink some more coffee, and all right, so I'm actually checking back in. It is 9:30 Thursday evening, and I have read for about 3 hours today. I'm going to be done for the night. I read 200 pages between Poe and Legends and Lattes, which I finished. I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was so cute. I'll talk more about it later, but right now I'm leaning on giving it a 5 stars, just because it was just so fun, and it was a cute read, and it was just good. I enjoyed it, so I had fun reading it. I am debating on what I'm going to start reading for tomorrow. I'm kind of leaning towards I might start reading Susanna's Song by Stephen King. It's the 6th book in the Dark Tower series, partly just because those are from the library. So again, at some point they're going to want their books back. So that one's the shorter of the 2 that I have left anyways. So I think I'll probably start that one. And go ahead and finish reading that. And then I'll read something else, obviously, from my TBR. But so far, this week, I feel like I've gotten quite a bit done. So I've got 2 more days that I'm going to kind of keep track of how much I'm reading and how long and all of that. And so I'll see, if that's enough time to finish the next book. Usually these Dark Tower books have been pretty long, but Susanna's Song is not near as thick as some of the other ones. So maybe it's possible to finish it in the next couple of days. I think it's going to depend on how much time I have to actually read. So that is it for tonight, and I'll pop in tomorrow. I do have to take my van for an oil change, so we've got a few things to do, but I'm hoping I'll get some time to read. It is Saturday. Yes, Saturday. I not only did not record anything else yesterday, I did not read 1 minute worth of time. I had planned on doing some reading in the morning, if possible before taking my van in to get an oil change. That didn't happen. And then when I took my van in for an oil change, ended up getting a new minivan. And so then that took several hours, and we still had to take the kids to eat, and all of us to eat. Like, nobody had eaten lunch, so we went and got lunch, and then we took the kids to this indoor gym for kids, and then we had to go back and pick up the van at that point. So we left here at like 10:30 and didn't get home until 6:30 in the evening. And by the time we got home, everybody was just tired and all of the things. So I did not read it all yesterday. So I'm going to still go ahead and try to read today. I don't have a lot going on. I decided to start on the Song of Susanna. I might have mentioned that in one of my other recordings, but I hadn't been sure what I was going to start on. But since this is a library book, I want to try to finish this one. And then I'll read something else from what I own. And then I've only got one more book left in this series. So that is where I'm at. It is around 10:30 right now. So I probably won't do much recording today. I'll try to pop on at the end of the day. Chances are I'm not going to finish this whole book. It's not a really long book, but I just feel like I probably won't read, 400 pages today. So we'll see. But I want to end everything today though, because I want to get this edited and try to get it up tomorrow on Sunday, if I can. So anyways, I'll check back in later. All right, so I did not again check back in. Last night I did read some yesterday. I read for about an hour and 20 minutes that was about 71 pages. So I read it was a really short story from the Edgar Allan Poe book. And then I started Song of Susanna, which again is the 6th book. Sorry, I was looking down to see the number, but it's the 6th book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. So I started that one. I can already tell I'm going to like it. It's really fun. I keep saying these books are fun. I like horrors and like Stephen King in general. So to me, the books are fun. I've read some things that like actually scare me, but a lot of times his stuff, while some of the things in it scare me, a lot of times they're just fun. And the Dark Tower series is more on that like fun, even with some of the stuff that's in it. So I'm enjoying it though. I ended up having to take down the video that I had put up last week because for some reason, somehow, all of my sound disappeared from what I had posted on YouTube. It was missing from what was in my editing software. It was even missing in my original video that was saved directly in my stuff. So I have no idea what happened, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it. So I ended up just deleting that video. If there's anybody who happens to watch this who knows more about what I could check for next time, I'd appreciate the advice. But the challenge, I don't even know if I'd call it a challenge, more, maybe more of an experiment. It's gone fairly well. Like I said, I tracked every day this week. So I read for total for the week about 13 hours and 56 minutes, so almost 14 hours. 13 hours, 56 minutes, almost 14 hours. And I read 509 pages. It feels like I read more than that, but it's just because I had finished, one of the books and stuff like that, or two books. I had finished 2 books plus part of one. But it makes sense because Born a Crime I had already read a little bit of, and then Legends and Lattes was fairly short also. So I've had fun this week doing this. Doing this kind of video is still a little bit tricky for me between using my phone and not being really experienced and not used to doing any kind of vlogging. And then even just down to like editing and putting things into into CapCut and cleaning it up and all of that stuff. I'm kind of teaching myself as I go. But it was fun to try to see how much I read on any given day. So I'm glad I did it, but I'll see what I'm going to do next when I do something a little bit different. Weekly updates right now are, I don't know, they're more convenient for me to do. Anyways, that is it for this week. I don't remember, for the video that I had to take down, I don't remember what books were in it. I do remember talking about the book I was not liking. So I probably won't try to recreate that one, just because I know that it was more like reviews of a couple of books. And when I do my kind of end of the month wrap up here in a week or two or whatever it ends up being, I'll be talking about it anyways. So I'm going to kind of leave it at that. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye.